Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. I added the word exciting because, man, oh man, do we have some things to discuss. You and I, viewer and I, and Rob,
and me,
and Peanut, and
don't
Peanut,
forget
of
me.
course. Don't forget you.
She'll join in due time. Yeah.
Of course. And we have, of course, I'm joined by Rob, my co-creator, co-commentator,
Yes,
co-pastor, co-compatriot, unless that was unclear here. We'll be going through two main topics for this discussion here. We'll be talking about the very recent, was supposed to be May 2nd, but got brought up, the scheduled BNR. So I guess they call it now banned and suspended. It's like BNS. It's not really BNR.
It's BS.
It's BNS instead of BNR. Because it used to be called restricted, right?
Yeah,
so then now it's suspended.
BNR.
But they just recently, with the 2.0, they changed it to suspended, right? So,
yep.
And then we'll be talking about all the Icelander spoilers that have come, all the juicy news that came out today. We're recording this on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep.
And so we have literally all the info we can for the moment. The only things that haven't come out at time of recording is like the specifics for the not I was supposed to say farewell events. No, like not the pre-release events. The national season? No, not spoiler season. The one where like it comes out in Vegas, Madrid, and Sydney. So those events.
The reveal, not the reveal. The
grand opening events.
Kind of we'll get to them later. Yeah.
Whatever. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. But
yeah.
Those details haven't been announced yet for those events. Those will be coming out shortly. However, everything else has been out. So we're gonna be talking about everything. Your one-stop shop for if you're literally living under a rock, watch this video. You'll get everything you need to know here. So we're gonna be starting off with the BNS here. That's funny. That's funny to say that. That's funny.
We can still call it BNR.
I just got to call it the banned and suspended announcement. So a lot of things happened. Very briefly, the only thing we're going to say about the Calling Taiwan and the Battle Hardened events that happened is very, very sad to see the final game and the VODs for that, seeing the chain player cheat so blatantly on camera, on stream. Didn't even do that good of a job, to be honest with you. Probably didn't.
So you gotta cheat better, man. I'm kidding.
I mean, it was probably second nature to him, to the fact that like he didn't realize that the recording meant anything. Like he didn't take that into consideration, right? So he's just like doing. Yeah. It just like devalues everything you've accomplished up to getting to the finals. Like, is that not good enough? I'm deeply kind of. It's good that they DQ'd them. It's very disturbing. I mean,
yeah, I was gonna say disturbing.
I get it.
Yeah.
But there's money on the line. Cheaters come out. I get it. But it just like the integrity for the first Asia region, like not obviously not the New Zealand, not the Oceanic region, just the Asian region here. First major event that's not like a national event. It's like a first actual open calling event, and that's your finals. 6 Starvos, 1 Chain, 1 Vis. Chain, obviously the Chain was what the guy was playing, but Starvo ended up taking it regardless. Doesn't make Living Legend status because it ended up losing the Battle Hardened in Taiwan and the Battle Hardened in Madrid, and because it lost both of those, it is not able to live in Living Legend, and that's why LSS is bringing this up a week.
Yeah, exactly, to
make sure people understand the meta they're practicing for in PT. To a lesser extent, PQs, because PT weekend is. Coincides with the first PQ weekend also. So if players who are not at the PT can also play in their PQs if their store has designated it on those days. Be kind of cool to like playing a PQ and seeing the PT in the background like streamed on a TV and be like, this is what you're going for. Like, this is the goal. You know what I mean? I think that'd be pretty cool actually if I was playing in a PQ.
Totally.
So we're gonna be talking a little bit about this. So we're gonna start with Classic Constructed, right? So
yes,
let's go with the big one. Let's go with the banned first. Awakening is banned.
Yeah.
Guess who predicted that one in her last video? This guy. I mean, I think it was fairly easy to assume that. I think what did I say? I predicted. I said either Awakening or they're touching Okanold somehow. Right. I think those were the two that I thought.
I think
were the
reason I didn't think
likely.
Awakening would get touched was because Michael won without it. Which I think they touch on in this article.
They do.
But then they're like, never mind that. It's still too good. It's still too good.
it doesn't make sense. And you know what? If it didn't make sense in CC, I think the skirmish season even was able to like coincide with the fact that Oldhim was still also very strong off something like Awakening, which Oldhim can use too. Go figure.
Yep.
So Awakening
So
is
that
banned,
just
straight
got
up banned,
banned.
not
Straight, yeah,
suspended.
exactly. They were talking about now making things suspended, but they still treated this thing like in the old
It
days,
was it
just
was
under the
harsh
rug.
enough.
We
Yeah.
never printed this card, kind of thing. Yeah.
No, it's fair, and I think LSS's reasoning is kind of like, I think they mentioned it there, single-handedly trades the most explosive turns they can unleash for little cost, and that was a big problem because
Yeah.
even if you're playing Starvo into those aggro matchups, either an aggro mirror or another aggro deck, maybe like a chain deck or something like that, or another fast hyper aggressive deck,
Mm-mm.
you were able to just take stupid amounts of damage and essentially arsenal or just grab an awakening. You don't even have to arsenal that card. Play it out, pitch 3. Let's say maybe you Crown of Seas or whatever. You have 2 floating, you awakening, and then God forbid you have the Earth card for the fuse too, so you're getting double the seismic surges. And then you grab a free pulverize, grab a free crippling, grab a free whatever. Maybe you have an Okanold and you have a pummel in hand. Well, sure, let's grab an Okanold. Why not, right? So I think the ability it's essentially for the pulverize alone, it could be a 2 for 14,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
That's essentially what it is. And to have that kind of card printed in a game where there is only a few decks that are negating so many other decks, and it's becoming a more restrictive meta, that card perpetrates a lot of the issues where your entire strategy is just like other decks have to actually work at it, whereas Starvo can like
Yeah.
just Yahtzee their way to like random crippling dominate go again and be like, oh, I didn't
So
get it, no problem, I have Awakening, so I'll come
yeah,
back in the game and then slam you with
get
Oak into the
out of
face 3
jail free
times.
card kind of thing,
It
right?
literally is a get out of jail free card, and I think in Monopoly it's fine, and Flesh and Blood it's not. It's just not.
Monopoly is not a balanced game. Let's put it that way.
It's not. We're not playing board games here. Maybe one day, but for now, we're not playing board games here.
Not
Um,
opposed.
do you?
Yeah.
Because I know you played Starvo a couple times.
Yeah, a couple times.
Out here on the channel, and I don't know how much you used Awakening specifically, but what do you think about the Awakening guy in general?
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly played, I think, into the mirror, if I recall. It was
Mm-hmm.
basically like if you're down, you're never really losing as long as
Mm-hmm.
Awakening's in your deck because you can always find a way to get back into the game if you find it, right? So it kind
Mm-hmm.
of it almost like negates those small advantages you get by playing the game. Because a lot of decks actually gain incremental advantages. You make sure you block properly, block effectively, and then as long as this is a card in the game, that almost makes it moot. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't even matter anymore because the guy's gonna get
True.
Awakening, they're gonna come back strong, and then it's as if everything you've done was for nothing. So
No, it's
I do think
true.
the card is overpowered entirely. Yeah.
Yeah, and if LSS's main goal with this is to reset the meta for PQ2 in the first Pro Tour,
Mm-hmm.
you need to allow more decks to be able to thrive, or at least try to increase the credibility of other aggro decks to actually push for game without having to worry about a sneaky Awakening
Yeah,
behind the back. You
it's
know what I
true
mean?
against aggro. It's
Yeah.
insanely good too. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
think their goal with this was to bring more aggro decks into the meta.
Yep.
You
Diversify.
get your Katsu back in. You get a few other ones that are more aggressive. So it's a good
Hmm.
change. I'm not upset about that at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and I think as they also mentioned, like the final point here is that fatigue doesn't care. Like the regular kind of guardian strategy that Michael Hamilton used, he didn't run Awakening. His strategy didn't
Right.
really. It was supposed to be a more consistent, slower pace, and decks that are running that kind of strategy don't really care. So you're also not gutting the core essential guardian play of Starvo. All you're
Yeah.
doing is you know removing this one tool that didn't make any sense to begin with. But when it was printed for Oldhim, it made sense, right?
Yep.
Bit way more niche. For Starvo, it just doesn't, and that kind of moves us on to our second kind of Bravo
Mm-hmm.
star of the show. Impacted. It also impacts Briar and Oldhim, but
Yeah.
Autumn's Touch. So
Mm-hmm.
suspended is good. I mean, banning it wouldn't make any sense. It makes a whole lot more sense to suspend it until
Right.
Bravo star of the show becomes Living Legend, which will probably be very, very soon. So
Yeah.
pretty reasonable to see Autumn's
Not
Touch
in
will be
time
coming
for
back.
Pro Tour, but probably shortly after that.
Exactly, because there'll be, if not a Pro Tour, one of the Pro Quests that weekend probably will have Starvo winning, right? So,
Right.
or at least a couple of them. So,
Yeah.
that being said, this was a 9 of like it's. I think their idea is that this if there's a card, the last 9 of that they banned was Seeds of Agony,
Yeah.
right? And if a card is so unbelievably strong or so there's no other option. It's just a must-have and
Yeah.
9 of. There's probably some tuning issues with that card, either with the
Right.
power level of that card itself, or in a combo with another card, or in a strategy. And in this particular case, I think it's in a strategy, right? Because Starvo was still probably is the only semi-easy deck to be able to pivot with 80 cards fairly cleanly into an aggressive versus control-based strategy, because he has the biggest pool of cards in the game right now, right, available to him. And because of that, I think this kind of suspension here hits his card pool to the point where the Bravos who are on fatigue strategy, like, you know, Michael Hamilton kind of esque decks, will have to use 2 blocks. There's no shortage of Earth cards that you can use. They can still be impacted, which kind of leads me to, well, they say, well, Blue Autumn's Touch can be replaced by another Earth card. It won't be an Earth card that can be revealed and then used. Can't you just use Blue Evergreen? You can use Blue Break Ground. They're both 3 costs, both blue. All hit
They're
for
all
5.
attack action cards.
They're all attack actions. Can they not be 7 go again dominate?
They do block 2, I think, but you can still attack.
They do.
Them. Yeah, you can still use them.
They
to
do.
Attack.
Which is, that's why I'm a little confused with that statement.
Their costs were, I think, 3 and 2. 3 for Evergreen, 2 for.
No, I think. Let me double check here. I don't want to be spouting ridiculous, because Evergreen is definitely 3. Evergreen is definitely 3.
Okay.
I think Break Ground is also 3, because I remember like using these cards, because you used the red ones in the past. You would use red Break Ground, red Evergreen for sure. Red Evergreen I saw in a lot of deck lists even beforehand, right?
Right.
Red Break Ground I didn't see as many. I think you're going to see it now. I think you're going to see 3 red Evergreens, you're going to see 3 red Break Grounds, and those are going to be your red Earth cards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they both block for 2. That's true.
Okay.
But it's not that you can't reveal them and not just use them. I don't really know. I think that statement might have not been edited correctly.
Yeah, it won't be an Earth card that can be revealed to Bravo's hero ability and then be used to attack with. I think it can. You're right. Yeah. These are attack action cards that should gain the buff, unless we're not thinking of something that with Starvo's ability. But I think it's just any attack action gets the buff, right?
It just has to be. It just has to be a 3 cost. That's it.
Okay, so they're both 3, so no issue.
Yeah, there. Next attack action with cost 3 or greater gets +2 dominate go again. So I'm not really sure about that.
We'll assume this is wrong, but they are 2 block now.
They are all 2 blocks, yes.
So not as good as Autumn's Touch.
Not as good as Autumn's Touch. It's also a matter to be said here that Blue Autumn's Touch was actually used pretty well in Briar too, the Channel Mount Briar deck, like the ones you've been playing in our list that came out.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a minor kind of point here. We're mainly talking about the Starvo.
We use it for pitching anyway in Briar, so I'd put any other Earth 3 pitch would be fine, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even the yellow Autumn's Touch and the blue Autumn's Touch were used fairly frequently as that 9 of. So Bravo will have to rearrange to 2 blocks. And now what that does, though, overall, if you think about it, on the fatigue strategy, it removes a full 9 points of blocking potential, right? Yeah. So if you remove all your 3 blocks to 2 blocks times 9, and you were running 9 of, and they're all 2 blocks, you've lost 9 points of defense. Now, that being said, sometimes you're going to pitch it for Crown of Seas, you're going to be using the pitch, you're not going to be using the block value. Yeah. However, a lot of times you are using the block value. There are not a lot of ice or earth cards that block for 3. There are very few of them, in fact. Things like Channel Lake. Yeah, sure. Those block for 3. Wouldn't you rather play Channel Lake? And
Channel Lake is a majestic, so you can't have the full 9 of. Right?
You can't have 9 of, exactly. So there's not a lot of blue, red, or I don't even know if there are any, because Frostfang and
they all block 2.
Icy Encounter.
Yeah,
they all block 2, but they're also not 3 costs. Frostfang's a 2 cost, and Icy Encounter is also a 2 cost.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to see what people are looking to replace, other than the obvious ones like Evergreen and Breakground. I'm kind of looking to see how they're going to mitigate that for the more fatigue strat.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I think this was the most reasonable way to tune down Bravo's power and not just take him out of the game when they literally just released him, right?
Yeah.
So I think errataing him would have been the worst outcome, in my opinion. And I think hitting Oakenold would be the second worst outcome, just because of first of all, the amount of work just to do it, just to get that out there, the information, the logistics of getting that as your suspension or ban is just much harder. Also, everyone with that cold full double-sided Bravo is that's
Mhm.
not errata. That's not, you can't actually
Yeah,
you can't play that with the correct text, which is kind of funny.
yeah.
But
They made the right choice here. I think this is it's very benign, but it's meaningful, you know?
mhm,
It's benign because
I
it's not
agree.
gonna like just completely crap on his game style. It's going to weaken him a little bit, and it's
Mhm,
not gonna affect other decks in as a significant way. So I think it's very
mhm,
fair. The Seeds ban was way worse for Chain. This is it's still substantial. You know, he's gonna be
mhm,
lacking some defense points when it matters, but
mhm.
you know, like you said, I mean, it'd be better if the other Earth cards didn't attack, like the article seemed to suggest. But
That would make more sense.
it would make more
However,
sense. Yes.
the way I see it here is they'll take something out of aggro and they'll take something out of fatigue or like control base. So they're gonna hit both strategies
Yeah.
to increase the variety of control decks and aggro decks that you can use against Starvo, right?
Yeah.
That being said, after all of the Starvo hits, he is still a top tier deck.
Yes.
If you have put a bunch of money into getting all those Guardian cards for Starvo, like the Stalagmite, all the
Yeah.
legendaries,
Don't
like
fret.
maybe you got a Tunic, a Crown of Seeds, that kind of thing. Don't worry about it. You can still run Starvo in your Pro Quest season. You can still run Starvo at Pro Tour, the Calling, whatever.
Yeah.
He's still a very strong deck.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say he's still a top 3 deck for sure. Like his portion of the, and we'll talk more about that in a different video, but his portion of what I think the meta will be
Yep.
isn't going to change substantially, given the
No.
amount of time people have. Just because they have not hit Starvo enough for people to be so worried that they're going to drop him and learn a completely different deck, right?
Yep.
Um, that's
Yep.
kind of the idea here, and
So that was
this
pretty much Starvo.
that was essentially Starvo slash Earth in a nutshell.
Yep.
Old him was the dire straits. I think you have to really demolish Starvo for Old him to be like rising to the cream of the crop here as like
Yeah.
a higher tier deck.
For now, Oldhim is kind of like the why bother hero if you can play Starvo,
Starvo is
right?
better. Starvo has all his
He has
cards.
the
Like the
entire
only thing
card
you're
pool.
missing,
It's
you
just
just
the
don't get the
hero
hero
ability,
ability.
but
But
Starvo's is
Starvo's hero ability is
arguably better.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm like,
So
I
poor
don't
Old
know.
Him is kind of eclipsed a little bit in the
He
Venn
does it, yeah.
diagram of Guardian. Old Him's like just inside Starvo's in Starvo's area, right?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Second ban. Bloodsheath Skeletor is
Let's talk
suspended until
about
Viscera
Runeblade.
becomes living legend. I want you to start us off here. What do you think about this? Because you've played
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of Viscera. I mean, I played a lot of Viscera too.
yeah,
But like, how do you think this?
yeah.
First of all, what do you think of Skeletor? And do you think this was better than Sonata? Like, do you think this was like the better idea to hit rather than Sonata?
Yeah, you know, I really liked your idea of not letting Sonata discount X cards. You know, that
Yeah,
would have been really cool if they did that. However, I think I like Skeletor more than Sonata. I would have preferred to have Skeletor in the game over
they went for the
Sonata.
easier route. No, like they went for
Yeah,
the easier route. I feel.
they did. Yeah, I mean, Skeletor before Sonata came out was perfectly balanced. I think it was a decent
I
card.
agree.
It's one that you could get some pretty good combo potential off. It did enable OTK to some extent, not really as strong as it is now, of course, but
Because
I
consistency goes down, but it's still a viable
yes,
option.
yeah. With leaving Sonata on the board. So first of all, Sonata itself, it's still a fine card. I would still play it in both Briar and Viscerai, but you actually now got to work for it. You got to pitch extra blues to get that, you know, extra few
God,
cards
God,
off the top, right?
God forbid you have to actually pitch
You
for
got to
it. Oh
actually
no.
play it the way it was intended to be. Its power level got way reduced, I think, with Skeletor gone. But I
Mhm.
would have liked to still have Skeletor in the game. Blocking for 2 was so nice. The 2 armor is going to be missed, I think. And it wasn't even like played in Chain. I guess Chain doesn't play Skeletor or doesn't play Sonata either. So I guess for
Oh,
either way, Chain doesn't care at all. But I would have preferred the
that's fair.
Skeletor. Yeah, I think it was a fair card to begin with. Sonata was just a little bit too strong, in my opinion.
Oh, you mean preferred the Sonata ban over the
I would have
Skeletor ban?
preferred to keep Skeletor.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. Let's just like briefly look at
Their reasoning for it.
LSS's. Yeah, so their reasoning is kind of like in a nutshell. We're hitting Starvo and we don't want Viscera to get out of control.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's more or less what they're saying, right? And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
they're also saying because and the reason because no aggro deck can be Viscerai. Like the point is he has enough armor to sustain decent blocks, and no other aggro deck can come out with that balance of aggro
Yeah.
and blocking power. And it was just a little bit unfair, right? And the only thing keeping Viscerai in check was
Was
Starvo.
Yeah.
And
He was the
because of that,
predator
and
in this
Viscerai was that.
ecosystem.
Yeah, and the second, like when I was mentioning Starvo was like the cleanest deck to be able to go with 80 cards and take a hybrid strategy. Viscerai was that other deck, right? It could go OTK, it can go more tempo oriented. It's just not as clean cut as Starvo because Starvo had more in his kit that was able to like pivot better.
Right.
With that, I think they're right. I think if they hit Starvo more or at all, which they obviously did,
Yep.
Viscerai would definitely be the most played, if not definitely the second most played, if like by far.
Mm-hmm.
Because his matchup into aggro is
Just
so good.
aggro.
I mean,
Yeah.
other than ignoring the mixed damage and the fact that Rosetta Thorn is still busted.
It's true. What? Yeah.
Ignoring that, right? Sonata is just like, hey, let's pitch nothing. I have some chance, and I
Yeah.
play a card and get 3 cards back.
Yeah,
Like
no, that combo, I agree. That was the one thing that I really wanted to see change. I think if something was to
yeah.
get changed, I would have preferred that. Which they
Mhm.
did, obviously, by banning or by suspending Skeletor. But
Mhm.
I think that's what made him so strong into aggro decks too, because you could block and out aggro someone on the flip of a switch just by playing the Sonata with Rune
Yep.
Chance, right?
I agree. I think what this does for Viscerai is it doesn't make as much sense at a competitive level to play Viscerai without Skeletor. And I say that only because your OTK strategy goes out the window. And because your OTK strategy goes out the window, other aggro decks actually beat you. Like
Yeah.
Viscerai wasn't even consistently winning by such a large margin over. So like a Briar, like something we played before, our matchup was close. It was very close,
Right.
right? Um, and that was with me getting some really good hands off Mordred Tides and
Mm-hmm.
such like that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I don't have that extra 2 block from Skeletor. I might have lost the game. I don't know, right?
Yep.
But I still use Skeletor for Rattleboats. And that was like a way that I was
Yeah.
being able to come into the game. Like I still used it. I didn't use it for Sonata, but I still used it for Rattlebones. So now you're taking out Skeletor for your Rattlebones combo. You can't play Ninth Blade as easily, right?
Yep.
And more expensive cards out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So even your tempo goes out the window. Not as
Yeah.
much as your OTK, but the way I'm seeing it for Viscerai is Skeletor hits both. Sonata did not.
That's fair.
Not having Sonata for tempo, that was fine. You still had other combos you
Yeah.
can do, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it really neuters him. I feel like I agree with you. I would have rather seen a Sonata hit, which we'll get into in Blitz, obviously, but I would
Yeah.
have rather seen a Sonata hit, or at least what I suggested. Like you can't scale it a Sonata, but the cards still exist.
Right.
But
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm a little disappointed that they had to like gut Viscerai like they did here. I
Mm-hmm.
think I understand, but I'm still. I think they could have done a little bit better there. I think they could have not have taken the easy way out, but that's fine.
Yeah.
They do things that they do.
They did something that was difficult. They had to stop this combo somehow.
Yeah,
They
it's
dealt
like
with it.
that's the JFK speech. We do things not because they are easy, because they are hard, right?
Yeah.
We're going to the moon now, but the problem is that there's nothing on the moon for Viscerai anymore.
No.
So I wouldn't suggest anyone taking Viscerai to any kind of competitive level
Yeah.
deck, unless you're a Viscerai. Like now, you'll see who the Viscerai diehards were, because they're still going
Right.
to play Viscerai and try their best. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, I don't think the proof is not in the pudding here. I don't think you'd bring Viscerai to any of these Pro Tour events or even ProQuest.
Yep.
Briar, Chain, you mentioned it already. Chain doesn't run this card. Chain wasn't going to run this card. Husk is king.
Yep.
That's it.
Exactly.
Open and close.
Yep.
Anyone telling me that Skeletor, you run Skeletor over Husk for some reason hasn't played Chain at any kind of legit event. Or they just, I don't know, they were playing against only Kano maybe, or some random shit like that, right? Briar is interesting because Briar did run Skeletor in the list, usually ran Tunic in most scenarios, but could run Skeletor. So it impacts Briar a bit. on the matchups that she needed the armor for, like into like Ice Lexi and Ice Dex, Skeletor was actually pretty good. I definitely ran Skeletor into a lot of those more slower games because that on hit and able to create some rune chance with like a Revel or something like that,
Revel,
and then you can use it on Grasp and then come in with whatever you want. If something, the thing with the Briar is most things didn't cost anything, but I guess can you use it for channel? I guess you technically can. I don't know why you would, but reducing the cost of your non-attack or whatever, right? But like the point is, Briar didn't use the discounts from Skeletor nearly as well as Viscerai did.
Yeah.
Like you can, but you don't. So
yeah,
Briar's just a big question mark on the Autumn's Touch Skeletor right here. So I don't think Briar gets significantly worse here. No. I think she more or less stays the same.
I think one kind of point that I would make against Skeletor is that if you think about the discount that you do get, it's actually pretty strong. Right, if you consider maybe a 2 discount, if Sonata was out of the equation, and you Skeletor discount on your Rattlebones, that's 2 resources for free, and you Sonata discount on your 9th Blade, right? That's potentially like 6 resources for free off the Skeletor and a 2 block. So in certain situations, it can be pretty strong even before Sonata came out. So I guess I can see it being like a hot pick for banning, but it had its niche case and it didn't affect Briar and Chain really as much at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was it's Viscerai hate, like straight up, right? Which is fine. Seeds of Agony, I don't have anything to add here. I'm like, that's cool.
They're just saying we'll bring it back eventually, which is nice.
Yeah, it kind of indicates that they might have another Shadow Rune Blade in the midst because they think Chain is going to be Living Legend soon.
Yep.
That's probably what
that's fair.
Their idea is, which is fine. Seeds is disgusting card. That's just really it.
It was one of those 9-ofs that you just included, just like Autumn's Touch, right?
Yeah. But you included a 9-of, but you won the game off it, whereas nobody's won games nearly as much with Autumn's Touch, right?
As I said, it was much more of an impact on Chain to ban the Seeds than Autumn's Touch will be for Starvo.
And Chain was rampant in the meta. In Monarch meta, Chain was 3/4 of the damn meta. That's not Starvo's. Neither Starvo or Briar.
You either played him or played something that could outlast his aggro. That was
live long enough to kill him, but not really.
Either join him or just just wait it out as best as you can. And not many decks could do that. So
and we're gonna be talking more about like how we see more in details about like the CC meta planning out for ProQuest and Pro Tour.
Right.
We'll have a special guest for that one. Very, very excited for that one. So we're going to deep dive more into that a little bit later if you are looking for that kind of content.
Right.
Make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you know when those are going to go up. And of course, they'll go off on Spotify. If you are liking the content so far, feel free to leave a like, comment. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Do you have any other comments about like maybe what they should have banned?
Right.
Maybe you're a Viscerai main and you're crying right now. I played a lot of Viscerai. Like I'm a little bit like
I love
I'm a
Viscerai.
little bit peeved. I'm a little bit peeved myself. I like the design space, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
With that, we're moving on to Blitz. I didn't even know Viscerai was on slated to be Living Legend with the calling win. Did you know he was even close?
I had no idea. People just kept talking about Starvo and Viscerai just under the radar, kind of doing his thing. So hey, by the way, he reached Living Legend.
I was so like, I guess when I think about it, he did win like a ton of battle hardens, and he did win he won the Taiwanese battle hardened. That's Limbo winning on that one. He won the Madrid battle hardened. I think was Joshua, or no, the Frankfurt. I think that was the Frankfurt one. I don't know. I think Madrid was someone else. Anyways, point being, he did win the calling. Yuan G there. I don't know if I'm butchering his name, but the American who flew over to Europe and took their calling there, did run Viscerai in the finals there. So he is. That's it. There's no more Viscerai Blitz.
In Blitz, So I guess the skeleton banning. They didn't really touch skeleton in Blitz, right? But it wouldn't have mattered because he's gone now.
I guess it wouldn't have. This is a big deal though, because Viscerai was the best deck in Blitz. You can say, there's Oldham and just Kano's running around and Icelander.
Yeah.
The finals in the calling in Europe was Viscerai versus Viscerai.
Yeah.
50% of day 2 was Viscerai. So nobody can sit there and tell me Viscerai is not the best Blitz deck. I played Viscerai.
Yeah.
Got to the top 4 of the first skirmish.
The power.
I've been crushed by Viserai, and I've crushed as Viserai. Viserai was the best Blitz deck because you can do the same dirty Skeletus Sonata shit,
Shenanigans.
but they're at 20 life. They're not even at 40 life. You don't even need to hit that many things, right?
You've experienced like 40 damage turn 2s, right? Or something like that. Yeah.
More than don't get me started on that. That's my point is that kind of gross. I'm happy to see Viserai gone in Blitz. I'm not gonna lie. Like as much as I'm sad about the CC part, I'm actually quite happy about the Blitz part because he finished games way too quickly. And that seems to be a trend that LSS is trying to correct in Blitz across the board.
Yeah.
They didn't really need to do anything at this point with the Sonata, which we'll talk a little bit later for Viserai specifically. However, Viserai is gone. Kind of funny that Nebula Blade, like I get it, but Rosetta is still Rosetta.
Let's talk about how overpowered Nebula Blade is. They had to ban it, right?
Do you remember like in Monarch when like everyone was like, "Oh, Galaxy Black's like, but this Nebula Blade though," and then Chain was running Nebula Blade and doing ridiculously dirty things.
It was actually really good. Yeah, it was because you can get the 4 power off almost all the time, and the on hit is just too strong.
Yeah, when you run 9 seeds, everything is possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's right. The world opens up to you. They only banned it because that's his weapon, right? They have this new system now where if the hero gets Living Legend, they also ban their weapon. So the only way to get rid of the
in that format
Rosetta exactly is to ban Briar. That's the only way.
Yeah. Or sorry, Briar gets Living Legend, not ban Briar.
Yes.
But
sorry.
I know what you mean. They can still ban Rosetta, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So no more Viserai and Blitz.
Awakening is banned. Same thing as CC. Same reason as CC.
Taking it out in both formats. Get that thing out of here. Yeah.
Important to note, Starvo is obviously not playable in Blitz. However, Oldhim is, and Oldhim was the second most popular. Right after Viserai, Oldhim took a ton of skirmishes, took a ton of Blitz events. I know because I was one of them. So it's I used Awakening definitely in my games. And I looked at it. I remember in top 8, I mentioned in the other discussion video, I fused it. I had the Earth Fuse. I came in with a Pulverize. And it was the Oldhim Mirror too. And that's a dirty, dirty feeling in Blitz. Can you just think about it in CC? Now double it in Blitz. There's 14 coming at you. Still 14, but you only started at 20. That's kind of gross.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, so same potency really, except for less health. So... Really
it's what did they say? It's a 2 for 14.
Yeah.
Which on Pulverize, but even Spinal or I guess really Spinal is the only other thing.
There's no crippling that you can run. Yeah, so basically Spinal. Yeah,
basically Spinal and Pulverize were what you were getting there. So that's okay. Hard Cross Trap is banned. Now the reason it was banned by LSS is avoidance of any dirty OTK strats that they think are going to become a lot more prevalent. Yeah. Probably with the new Uprising set, which we will talk about next at the next portion of the video here. So Hard Cross Trap is that kind of 2 mana for free, right? Two pitch for free on your first attack action. The only OTK deck we've really seen being tried to play as an OTK deck in the physical damage variety is Benji. Benji's attacks didn't cost 2. Right, like none of his actual
costs, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. They're all 0. There are 1 cost, like Break Tide. Right. I think Break Tide is a 1 cost. Don't quote me on that though. Break Tide's a 0 cost. I'm a dumbass. So
okay. I mean, there are some I believe, but I can't think of any. Let's just assume there are some that aren't 0. Yeah.
Flying kick is 2. But anyways, point is that it's very, very good at setting up. Like you crack it, you do some stuff. And like maybe you weapon attack and then you come in with your first attack action and it is free if it's cost 1 or cost 2, right?
Yeah.
The idea that they're pre-banning it in Blitz makes sense because OTK is doubly as potent in Blitz when you start out with half the health, right? It makes sense thematically here. And a lot of what they're doing is when LSS kind of wrote their paragraph down there is they said they're trying to slow down the format. And trying to prevent OTKs is a really good way of slowing down the format. So I do... agree that indirectly pre-banning stuff is fine. I mean, obviously, I've used Hard Cross Trap in my Katsu build before for free Surging Strike. So you do like Kadachi Surging or Kadachi Surging or something like that, and you don't have to pay for the Surging Strike. I've used it in Prism, as you obviously saw, for a free Herald, which is very, very nice.
Yeah.
So I definitely, the power of 2 pitch. Don't never, you get your 2 upfront tunics. So it's like 6 turns of waiting, but you only have to do it on turn 1 if you want to, right?
Yeah. I mean, one card that I just thought of that is not like a generic, of course, but it is Aether Ironweave. That is also a 2 mana discount, not only on one attack, but I think just gain 2 resources, right? So
But you do have to have
there is
played
a
a
condition, yes,
yeah, it's
non-attack and
conditional,
attack before you can do it, yes. Whereas
which isn't
Hardened
that
Cross
easy.
Strap is just like, I want 2 resources, bam. And it's
Yeah.
Runeblade specific. It's not generic like Hardened
hmm
Cross Strap is, right? So
And I think that's a big deal, like the fact that
yeah,
it's generic, right?
right, yeah. You give that power to any hero, and then some hero can take it to the moon, right? Depending on the right
Yeah,
cards, of course. But yeah,
I
so
totally
they
agree.
they mainly just stopped it for the OTK potential in Blitz.
Yep,
Yeah,
I agree. I think I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to the stubby hammers being banned for
yeah,
June
sure,
24th.
yeah.
And they just said there were some dirty, dirty things. Mister New Fire,
Dirty
Mister New
things are
Fire
gonna
Ninja is
come, and
gonna.
this card is
Uh,
gonna
I'm
wreak
willing. I'm
havoc.
willing to bet. I'm willing to bet Mister Fire Ninja is probably going to be popping up, or Draconic Ninja, or whatever the guy is going to
Yeah,
be,
yeah,
which we'll talk about later.
draconic or whatever.
I'm willing to. I'm willing to put a bet that Blitz deck would be probably pretty broken with Stubby Hammers, which
Yeah.
in case anyone forgot about that card in Monarch, it's actually very good in Bolton. Among other, it's okay in Chain too, but it's very strong in
They,
Bolton Chain.
yeah.
It hasn't done that much. I have drafted it before, but
They've done it dirty.
it's
It's like it's an innocuous card that hasn't done much to date.
it's good. It's good with stuff like Belittle and other like Go Again
Yeah.
three or looks. That has to be 3 base attack or lower, right? The Belittle minimalism package really shines with Stubby Hammers. But other than that, it's definitely a bit of a weird card there. I think even in Bolton, I grab Gallantry Gold every single day ahead of that card. So even there, in some decks, it has better cards.
Yeah.
But of course, Stubby Hammers, same idea with Hard Cross Shop, is generic. And for the exact same reason, they said OTK, we're trying to, and they put a date on
Yeah.
it, like June 24th. They know it's going to be a problem with
Oh,
like some
yeah.
of the new hero, right? So
Yeah, they are
I'm
future proofing by banning
yeah,
this card for sure. Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. Like I'm fine with that. So Seeds of Agony, same idea, whatever. I'm not really gonna talk about that. It's just it is what it
Yep.
is.
We've got
Let's
a,
talk about Sonata. Let's
an
talk about
interesting
Sonata
one.
next because
Sure,
I
we've
want
already
to
kind of
combine
talked
the
about it
wizard.
in CC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to combine the wizard stuff together. So Sonata Arcanics. So they went with the other side. They're like, okay, let's do Skeleton for CC.
Yeah.
Let's flip a coin, heads or tails. It's tails. They're going with Sonata and Blitz, right?
I mean,
And
arguably, I think that this, if you're looking to have the biggest impact in each of their respective formats, Sonata is a bigger impact in Blitz because Skeletor wasn't really. And once you have Viscerai out of the picture, that is, Skeletor doesn't really matter anymore. Arguably, Briar has some niche usage, but
right.
banning that card wouldn't matter too much. Sonata is the one thing that actually is going to make it continues to make Briar so strong in Blitz, right? So it does really impact Briar a lot more.
I totally agree, and I think I like their reasoning a lot more than their Skeletor reasoning. Like I like their little blurb that they put. Like they put a little bit. They know I'm reading. So like let's give Eric a percentage, or let's give him some numbers to feed on here.
There you go.
Very very odd for LSS to put numbers on anything if it's not like related to like results,
like
but
print numbers. But yeah,
other than print numbers, it's true. So life total by 5%, no cards, +1 power. It helps chain, I guess. Maybe in their test chain list. I haven't seen too many chains running around with Sonata.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah.
However, not as prevalent. Briar is very prevalent. Still a very good Blitz deck, especially with Viscerai out of the picture. I'm expecting a lot more Briars to be popping out here as the preeminent.
Viscerai's been gatekeeping Briars a little bit. Now with Viscerai
100%. 100%. And everyone's going to remember that Rosetta is still not banned. Briar can most definitely still hit you with Rosetta.
Yep.
Definitely going to beat a card and hitting. I think they know that, and I think Sonata is just too good at turning everything on. Right?
Yeah.
It's too good. Like
the synergy is insane. Yeah, you get the arcane, you get the half of the embodiment of lightning, as they put it here. It's just you draw it, you play it. There isn't really that much thought involved with it. Guy has the go again. If it hits, of course, you do get the embodiment of Earth. So Briar just loves this card.
No, it's totally fair, and everything for 0. Like you could X a 0, that's it. You can block with it if you want off an embodiment. Like it's whatever. It's very very good. I understand it. until the end of conclusion of Skirmish Season 5, which is interesting because they actually put a date on the Skirmish Season 5, which we'll talk about very briefly after. But that is the Runeblade kind of idea here.
Yeah.
Wizard. Let's talk a little bit about Wizard here.
Yeah.
Kano and Icelander are wizards at the moment that were kind of out and about in Skirmish, right? Icelander had a really good showing despite having very few support cards.
Right.
And I was a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, that
Same.
she did so well in Skirmish and Battle Hardened and whatever. A lot of top 8 appearances. I think a top 8 or a top 4 in the Call in Europe.
It was a top 4 in Krakow. Yeah. I think we talked about that. It was a top 4
in Krakow. Yeah. And we saw a lot of those games on stream too. Like it was good play. It was a nice deck. A little bit surprised. And then on the Kano side, we also saw Kano in top 4, which Martin, we interviewed him. You can go check out that interview if you haven't seen it to see his journey with Kano. Wizard is always a factor just because of the ability to, provide that not lethal, but like near lethal damage at any given point of time.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Storm Striders, arcane damage, the lack of arcane barrier depending on the deck. Blitz is a little bit different because a lot of decks can easily slot in 3+ arcane because they don't have to fit it in their 80 card list. However, in Blitz, games are a lot faster, right? So KO started at 15 life, Icelander started at 18.
18, yeah.
Right? 18. To kind of negate the fact that, hey, it's our turn, right?
Yeah.
it's not your turn. That's more of a Kano thing, but still, like instant speed is kind of the idea, right?
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to address the main issue of Blitz games being done within 3 turns. Because I have played a lot of Blitz games and seen a lot of Blitz games. The game is done within 3 turns. Wizard, Runeblade, whatever. Doesn't matter.
As long as Wizard's involved, especially Kano, the games do not last.
Turn 0, turn 1, done. Right? Easy.
Especially when I do my KO into Kano. It's just
those are fat. It's great content because we can smash down like 15 games in about 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so it's
great. Speed run.
So they've done 2 things here. Snapback is suspended. And Stir the Aether Winds is suspended.
Yep.
These are both rares, which is the first rare card that suspended, because I think Autumn's Touch was the common.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And then everything else has been Majestic, I believe.
Yeah, Seeds was common as well, I believe.
Seeds was common. So this is the first rare. I don't know if that means anything. I'm just throwing it out there. That's interesting.
It's fair.
Because it's rare, there's 9 colors of each of these. To be fair, I don't know how many people use the yellow Stir or the yellow Snapback.
Yeah, I don't think.
However,
played. Yeah,
the red ones for both of them were used heavily in Red Stir. The Aetherwind was used obviously in Kano, but also sometimes in Icelander. And the blue Stir was also used in Icelander. The blue Snapback can be used in Kano, and it can be used in Icelander.
Yeah.
So the Reds and Blues, when we're talking about Blitz, we're talking about a total of 4 cards in a deck of 40. If you're using all of them, generally, I haven't seen. It's usually between 2 and 4. As far as like how many of the blues and reds are using, right? Very different cards. So Stir, I'm gonna start with Stir. Stir, the big deal used to be Stir Forked. That used to be the preeminent. You could Strider Stir Forked. You could Strider Stir Fork Crucible Metacarpus Forked for 14 in your face. I've done that to Rob quite a few times, and it is El Clasico, as they call it, right?
Yeah,
that is the bread and butter Kano. It's traditional.
Combo. Yeah.
But now with the kind of, what do I want to say here?
You mean with the
Aether Wildfire
introduced for Everfest? Yeah.
The rise of the Aether Wildfire. Aether Wildfire is a very, very good replacement for Forked Lightning as your win con.
Yeah.
Especially for the fact that you can use Stir the Aetherwind, as Kano. You can use it with Striders, or you can get it off the top to get the Aether Wildfire on their turn as an instant to get the second ability, right?
Right.
And the +3 buff is very, very nice. So even if you have literally no other buffs with it, that is coming in for 7, right? And so that's coming in for 7, does whatever amount of damage, and then hey, Mr. Snapback comes in, and you can see where I'm going here.
It's a much cheaper combo than Stir Forked, right? And the potential damage is actually, not on par, I guess, but it's close. For what it costs,
it's more prolonged damage. It's less upfront damage. However, Blazing, we're talking about the Kano side here. Blazing costs 0. So when you hit them with Wildfire, blazing just multiplies. Aether Wildfire, double blazing, single blazing. When we were talking to Martin, the amount of games he just won straight up off Wildfire combos.
Yeah.
It's very strong. It's very versatile. And it's a bit of a menace. A lot of Kano games, especially in aggro matchups or matchups where they had low null rune. So Oldhim being the only real exception to that.
Yeah.
Maybe Icelander. But Icelander had the issue where there's less health, right? Yeah. And the games were done stupidly fast.
Yeah.
Like they were, you blink and the interactability between those matchups were just really, really poor. And on the Icelander side, Blue Stir the Aetherwind pretty good out of the arsenal. Can use Red Stir the Aetherwind. Snapback was decent because what you could do is you can play a blue wizard card from your arsenal, and then you could play Snapback after it, right? As an instant because you played it. So these two cards make a whole lot of sense to hit first. They didn't touch any of the specialization cards for Kano, which makes sense. They're coming out with obviously a lot more Icelander cards, but I think as far as their goal to slowing down the game, these are two very good options that don't neuter wizards. Like Kano is still very playable with was very playable with one stir. So now you have to play around it. You can't just go ham whenever you want. And that will have to be like Kano will have to work around it. They say it in their paragraph that they know Kano has had very results as far as percentages, right? As far as like winning in top 8 on the skirmish, even in the calling, he hasn't. Like that's not the reason they're doing it. They're doing it because games are finishing a little bit too fast on average, which makes sense, right? And these are some of the cards that when you take them away, you don't neuter the deck. Snapback has only been a really recent addition with Wildfire, right? The issue with Stir is Forked becomes really, really bad, in my opinion, as far as like costing 3. You would need to pitch 5, even with Metacarpus, to come in for 8. If they want to slow down the game, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Stir is really what enabled Forked to be as powerful as it is. So I don't really foresee Forked being that playable. I guess I
don't think Fork is playable. I think Fork is dead, in my opinion. No, in Blitz, I think Fork is just not the card you want to do. I think what you need to be doing now is running stuff like Aether Flare, Aether Wildfire, and buffing in a kind of different manner, trying to be able to string together like Chain Lightning and use different go wide, like lower to the ground combos, and you're not relying on the really tall Stir whatever to do like 1, hit you for 14, hit you for 12, you're dead.
And also it's important to mention also that these cards are only suspended until the end of Skirmish Season 5. So this is kind of like a trial period where we're going to see how they fare without these cards. And they will come back as long as Kano, I guess, does not get Living Legend or Icelander, but they will come back after Skirmish Season 5 ends.
No, that's for sure. I think the last point here we want to make is August 24th. So the next skirmish season, I think that's late August is what they said the next skirmish season was going to be.
Let's see.
That's actually quite far. It's right at the bottom of the top part right there. August 22nd.
There you go. Yeah, 22nd.
It's far. It's further than you would think, and I think that's because there's going to be a road to national season in the middle, so it kind of makes sense. Is my guess, right? And I think the time frame is fine. I think it gives them enough time to like work around whether they needed to go that ham on Wizard. Maybe just Stir was enough. Maybe just Snapback was enough. Personally, I think just taking out one or the other was probably enough, in my opinion. I think hitting both of them maybe a little overkill, especially to the fact that Kano is still extremely hard to play properly. Takes a lot of reps. He's not immensely popular with newer players. As far as like, I want to play a deck that's easier to learn, but I can still like crush face. That being said, overall, my thoughts on the, BNS. That's on the BNR. Overall, I think they're pretty positive.
I don't really have much of an issue with this, other than maybe Skeleton and CC, but that's okay. I think
Viscera has gone the way of
happen, so I'm okay with it.
Viscera has gone the way of the emu. No. What's the other one that just died? Like those fat birds.
Dodo.
The dodo.
The dodo, that's right.
Viscera has gone the way of the dodo, I think. And that's fine. It seems it's more fair.
He's had his spot in the limelight for quite a while now in both CC and Blitz, so I think this is fair. Yeah.
That's totally true.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say, I think, about BNS.
Yeah, the only point, briefly, again, we're talking about this in another video in more detail. Starvo's still good. Don't play Viscera unless you're a diehard. Chain gets better. Prism gets better. Talk a little bit more about that later. Of course, we didn't see Prism getting hit.
Yeah.
The reason was because it was a bit of a gatekeeper for Starvo because it had a favorable matchup. Literally, you look in any given direction in a room of people and they'll tell you the opposite thing. They'll be like, nope, this guy says it's favorable. This guy says it's unfavorable.
Yeah.
This lady says, I don't care. I'm just here for cosplaying. It doesn't really matter, right? It's the point is, it's the effect of it, right? And
yeah.
I think
a point that I'll make about Prism is that if you're now removing Viscera from the equation and you're allowing for more aggressive decks to get up to that point where they can face Starvo and Prism is actually pretty weak into aggressive decks. So
Viscera was one of her weakest matchups.
Yes, exactly. So if you're adding in more decks that can fare well against Starvo, aka more aggressive decks, Prism will fall off a little bit too. I think that chunk of the pie where, you know, her representation pie, I guess, it'll go down a little bit with the more aggressive decks. So I don't think she needed to be hit personally. She was more of a check for Starvo. And now that Starvo got hit a little bit, Viscera got hit a lot, aggressive decks will come in a little bit.
Whenever Guardian goes up, Prism also goes up. That's just how it goes.
The Guardian
That's just the correlation.
Stocks go up, Prism's stocks go up. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think those decks are all going to benefit. Oldhim got a little bit worse. Briar got a little bit worse. Viscera got a lot worse. Those are the main losers. And with that, I think we should roll on over to
spoiler season.
Preview season.
Previews. Here she is.
In all her
Icelander.
In all her Jaina Proudmoore glory.
Yeah,
we
totally
have
Jaina.
Icelander.
Oh my goodness.
We have Icelander Stormbind, the Ice Wizard herself. I mean, Elemental Wizard, I guess, but essence of Ice. It's Ice Wizard.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk too much about, nothing changed with the health. It just doubled the 18,
double
which is fine.
The health from Blitz, exactly. Yeah, same ability.
Did you ever think that this was going to be the CC hero they were doing first?
No.
Like this was going to the young hero they're going to bring
the first time they've done this. They've brought in a young hero, then brought in the adult one afterwards, right? We have not seen this with any other hero.
They get older. I get it. Age happens. Maybe she's got some back pain.
In the few months she's been out, right?
Yeah, looks great though. Aged really well.
I love this card. It's so nice.
Big fan. Love the art. I mean, the whole aesthetic. I'm willing to bet probably her chest pieces might be a legendary. Her ice tunic thing.
Yeah, ice tunic. Yeah, Icelander's frozen tunic. I don't know.
There are 6 legendaries in the set, so nobody really knows. Young Icelander. So this one, I guess they'll have a cool foil of this one too, and when the armor gets, so there's gonna be there's gonna be
this
two
hasn't
cool
changed
foils.
Much, I think, besides the border, right? Only the border has changed. I believe the other one might have been like an elemental border, like the Bravo border. They've made this one specifically ice, which is nice, and new art too. I do like it. Yeah, nothing much to say about this one. I guess it's the same effect, same card. Channel the Bleak Expanse. I'm going in order.
No, that's fair. I think it's kind of funny. You release this card, and then you tell everyone Viscera's banned. So there's just
he would have been dealt with this card, right? Just alone.
Yeah, you can't reveal, search, or draw. So have fun with Sonata.
Sonata's just out the window. Yeah. The thing is, though, you can wait. You don't have to pop your Sonata, I guess. But I mean, this card is pretty crazy into certain decks. It costs 1 as opposed to Channel Lake was, I believe, 2, right? So this is a 1. Channel Lake did block for 3. This one blocks 2, so a little bit of a trade-off.
Yeah.
But again, another blue ice card that can be used very effectively by Oldhim and probably Icelander. I assume this is more of an Icelander card. But they can all play it.
Yeah, Starvo could play it too.
Starvo too. Yeah.
until a living legend. I get it. It was just a joke. Don't get angry in the comment section.
But yeah, nothing much.
Channel
to say.
Ice.
It's quite good.
Oh, I think there's a little bit to say here. I mean,
go ahead, sir.
Well, we gotta consider the fact that they can't reveal, search, or draw. Does that not just hit everybody pretty much as far as what aggro deck doesn't want to draw cards? What deck doesn't want to search your deck, right? Like all the tutor cards, all the draw cards, that hits a lot more than people think, right?
I think the reveal
And
especially, actually. I'm thinking like an obvious one is Ravenous Rabble that all of the aggro decks play, I believe. That just can't reveal anymore. So now if you play Ravenous Rabble,
yeah, reveal the top card of your deck.
so does it
And
just
heroes can reveal cards.
so okay, so you can you guess you can't even play it at that point unless it just comes in for 5 guaranteed now.
No,
No,
because
no.
it's not you may reveal. It says
Yeah.
reveal, but this
So you
says
just
you
can't.
can't.
So you just can't play it, I assume.
There's going to be some weird interactions in the rules that I'm going to have to look at for Channel Blinking
Yeah.
stuff. There's going to be a lot of rules questions on this card,
Yeah, but
which I'm
I
looking
mean,
forward to reading
Snatch is
here.
obviously neutered.
Yeah.
You can't draw a card, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what
All the
else?
tutors, like all the tutor cards, like
True.
you know, it
True.
used to be like Seeming Seal, like a lot of warrior cards. Showtime, yep.
Can't search. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I think aggressive decks are probably the most heavily hit by this.
Mhm.
The ones that like to go into these crazy chains where you just draw cards, play cards, reveal from your top of your deck. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it hurts aggro the most. Blocking for 2 is a little bit awkward, but as you said, it only costs 1. It is a blue. Icelander can play it as an instant speed out of the arsenal. So when someone is trying to do some kind of non-attack action that wants to draw a card or reveal a card, I guess you just play this in response.
What if I play my Ravenous Rabble and then you react with this?
Well, yeah, because you respond before the attack resolves.
So
right?
This will come in first, and then Ravenous Rabble just can't reveal anymore. So okay, I guess I'll come in for 5. I don't know.
I definitely need to see the rules update for
they're gonna have to add some more rulings for this. Yeah.
It's a little bit unclear because this card can come in as an instant speed. So that's gonna have to be cleared up here. But I think it's a very, very good card. Definitely worth a Majestic slot here. So
definitely
very good in Icelander. Probably very good in Oldhim too. We'll see what it can do here.
Okay, we've got
second Majestic.
A new border. So this is the Elemental Wizard border. Super nice. I love this blue, green, purple color scheme they've got here for this card.
Very similar to the Tails border, just like the generic kind of Tails border, the elemental border.
Yeah, that one has, I believe, some splashes of yellow in there as well. It's a bit brighter than this one, but this one is kind of it's very like, I don't know, like Aurora type of like, you know, Northern Lights type of effect. It's really nice.
That's fair. I do agree with that. So this is an elemental wizard card, meaning at the moment only Icelander can use this card.
Yep.
Kato is not an elemental wizard. He should probably be. I'm willing to bet his town form is probably going to be an elemental wizard. But for now, it's just Icelander. And Ice Fusion is a 0 for. I mean, it's a 0 for X. As with elemental, they're all non-attack actions that do arcane. It's not an attack action. Blocks for 3. Standard wizard card. Is a red. It's only going to be available in red because it's majestic.
Yep.
Deals 3 arcane to any target.
The arsenal. Sorry. Oh yeah. So Icelander cannot use this from arsenal. Yep.
Correct. Can't be played as instant out of arsenal. Can be used with Stormtriders. However, that's probably not the play. But deal 3 arcane to any target. Lol. As if that wasn't the most precursor. Yeah, exactly. Like as if that wasn't the most precursor thing you could have said on a card, right?
Yeah.
The minute this came out, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, allies are definitely a thing. Tokens, allies." Like the wheels were spinning, and then obviously later on we're gonna talk about what exactly those mean. But this means at its worst, it's red zap, right? At its worst, it's a red zap. It's a 0 for 3 arcane.
Yeah.
If you do fuse it and it deals damage to a hero, which is possible to buff off like Crucible and stuff like that, if they only have like Null Rune 3. For instance, you can freeze that hero and all equipment they control. Freeze being the new keyword here for the set. One of them, I imagine there might be more than just freeze, but
right. So far, this is the only one I think that we've seen.
Yes, that's the only new keyword we've seen. A frozen object can't be played or activated. So, I mean, the activated makes a lot of sense because it just means that on your turn. So if you're frozen and all your equipment is frozen, you can't use those abilities aggressively, essentially, as far as being on the play. So if you're going to, like, assuming Bravo was still a thing.
Yep. Tectonic plating.
You can't Bravo. Well, you can't even Bravo.
Right.
Like you can't use your hero ability.
So the heroes or equips. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like combining Sleep Dart with, I don't think there's anything that like stops equipment.
There are things that destroy equipments, I guess.
Yeah, but they don't like pause equipment.
No, I don't think so.
It's like if Sleep Dart was good, like Ice Start. It's Ice Start, but wizard, right?
I think your point about this being kind of like a zap plus makes it just pretty good, I think, on its own.
It's a zap with upside, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a majestic. So if you do fuse it, very easy to fuse it because it costs 0. So you just play it and fuse. You don't have to pitch, which is really nice. That you don't have to pitch a card, play it, and then fuse, which is very, 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 very nice. Because Icelander might use Tunic, but also might use Heart of Ice and stuff like that, right? With that, I think it's a very, very good thematic card that shows everyone exactly what kind of deck Icelander is going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very mid-rangey control deck.
It kind of worries me a little bit because we've seen such promising results with Icelander already. All these tools.
You're worried it's going to be too good?
It might be too good. Yeah, I'm kind of worried.
Especially in Blitz. I'm not really sure how it's going to work.
Oh, that's right, because she is a CC hero now. That is true. Yeah, so maybe not. We'll have to see.
I am curious. To see the rest of her kit to kind of see how viable she is depending on the meta, but definitely a very good card in case. Moving on to Ice Bolt. Vanilla, it's Ice Voltic Bolt, right? That's what it is. It's literally, it's not literally Ice Voltic Bolt.
Yeah.
No, I lied. It's literally Ice Voltic Bolt because this is the blue one.
It's the same stat, I believe, right? 2 costs for 3.
Same stat line.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the blue, of course, red is 5. And
we'll
yellow
probably
is 4.
see a red one as well. Exactly. Yeah.
Blocks for 3. It is a common. This just lets Icelander play it out of Arsenal and give the Frostbite. That's literally all this means, right? Because with Voltic Bolt, you can play as instant.
Right? I guess you can help for fusing too. Yeah.
And hallelujah, we have an ice card that can block for 3. How many of those do we have running around?
We talked about it earlier, and we couldn't think of one, right? Besides Channel Lake.
It's a hard world for a set that's only been supported by a card type that's only been supported by one set so far, right? So very, very staple. I'm expecting 3 in CC, 2 in Blitz, possibly the red ones too. Probably the red ones too.
Yeah.
Not sure about the yellow. I don't know some 9 of or anything like that, but I think the reds and blues, especially in Icelander, are very, very, very good. Very stable card. That's it.
Exactly. Yep.
Ice Eternal. We have her first specialization. I believe she gets 2.
She did not get
so this
one.
This is her first one.
Yes, that is true. Yes,
she's only now being what a card. She's Jaina. This is Blizzard. This is her ultimate, is it not? This is someone's definitely got like a Dota thing going on in the back here. Or a Warcraft. Yeah, they're playing WoW in the background.
Well, Jaina being oh right, yeah, of course, yeah, World of Warcraft, of course. I played her in Hearthstone because I didn't play Warcraft.
Well, it's the
but
same.
It's the exact same world.
That's what that's where she's coming from. Yeah, that's where she's coming from. So this is for Icelander. It is another dreaded XX card. The last XX card we had got super broken super fast. So let's hope this is not a trend. It is blue. It is a 3-block elemental wizard. So it's not an ice wizard card. It is elemental wizard card.
Right.
However, it's an Icelander specialization anyways. So I don't think that really matters. It is an ice fusion card. But you can make the cost equal to X0, I guess, if that's a thing. Create X Frostbites under the target hero's control. So you would target them, I assume, unless there's some kind of like ice elemental giant you could summon if you have like 5 Frostbite. I don't know. Maybe there is.
Yeah.
But for now, you're going to be giving them Frostbites. If it was fused, deal Arcane equal to amount you control, right? So
and I mean, important to note that this will be dealing that +1 because of Icelander's ability, right? So you can play it from Arsenal as an instant, create a Frostbite, and then you add 1 more damage to this card's ability.
Assuming it's played from Arsenal as an instant kind of thing. But
precisely.
On there, I think the idea is that best case scenario, what cost is you have 4 blues in hand and you have Ice Eternal and Arsenal, so you're looking at
6.
You're looking at 6/6, right? So you're paying 6 to do 6. So you're going to create 7 Frostbites, including the one from Icelander, and you're going to be doing 7 arcane damage.
Well, you have to double it. So you have to pay 12 in order to gain 6 Frostbites, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean. So you have 4.
Okay, yes.
You have 4. Yeah, you have 4. Like the 4 cards in your hand are all blue, right?
Yeah.
So you have 12 pitch.
Yeah.
So if you have 12 pitch, declare X is 6, pay 12, get the Ice Eternal, create 7 Frostbites as an instant on their turn, deal arcane number to Frostbites dealt, and then they just have 7 Frostbites, right?
Which they just skip their turn at that point.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on. Alone, 7 arcane doesn't seem like a lot, especially when people were like all on Kano all the time. So they were like, what's 7 arcane? That's just like Crucible Voltic, but like 1 less damage, right? But in reality, 7 Arcane for Icelander might just be a lot of damage, especially when you can also affect board state. Because if you could do this at the beginning of the turn, beginning of their turn, obviously, maybe off some random trigger that doesn't really do, maybe off like, I was supposed to say Border Tide, but like we all know that's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe off like some other non-attack, like Gorganian Tome or something. Maybe they're Gorganian Toming, and then you flip over that Ice Eternal for X is 6. You stop their turn, right? Like I'm pretty sure you just stop their turn and you drop.
Right.
So in different situations, I think it could be okay. I think it is very expensive. You're not going to win the game off this card, but it's very, very good into aggro decks later in the game, where that one pivotal turn where they maybe took a bunch of damage, like maybe they took a bunch of your damage, still Arcane, you still have Stormstriders, right? So you play this, you take one of their turns, you get 7 Arcane in. Yeah, they pitch, maybe block a little bit of it, but then later in the game, you Striders on their turn and kill them, right? So I think by itself, it doesn't look as menacing until you remember the kind of kit that Icelander is working with. So I really like the card.
Yeah, really cool. Love the art as well. I think all these cards have really good art.
Yeah, that art is nuts.
Especially this one. This one's really cool. You see the reflection of the scared girl here looking at the monster.
She's
and there's something either in the ice or behind her. I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is a reflection.
The next card is behind the ice, probably. No. So Icebind, it is a common, so there's going to be red, yellow, blues. This is a blue one, so it is an Ice Fusion, costs 0, blocks for 3. It's not an ice card that blocks for 3, but it is a blue that blocks for 3. Deal 1 Arcane to any target. Again, the any target probably there for things like, as we kind of mentioned before, like allies and such. If it was fused, it deals damage to a hero. If Icewind was fused, it deals damage to a hero, freeze a card in their arsenal until start next turn. So that just means they can't play it out of arsenal. And that's why it says played or activated, right?
Yeah.
And so this one you just can't play, which is nice for, again, decks that really like to set up 5 cards. It's also can be okay against slower decks that want a Crown of Seeds, or they need that arsenal for something else. That's a lie. I don't think it does anything to Crown of Seeds.
I think Crown of Seeds can react, so yeah, it doesn't matter too much, I guess. Yeah.
So ignore that. Like in response, you Crown of Seeds essentially, and it doesn't really matter, right? So
yeah, I mean,
ignore that.
Even though this is not an ice card, Icelander can still play this from Arsenal as an instant. It's just that she won't create the Frostbite, but this still does kind of threaten the freezing of the Arsenal at random times that might not. If you do,
If you do the 1 Arcane, especially, right? So if they don't, if you're seeing them pitch a red, maybe pitching a yellow, playing this card when they don't have anything on board to actually block the Arcane, or using some of their precious resources in a very tuned turn, like if they've tuned their turn and they need all their resources, again, goes very well with Icelander's whole kind of, no, my turn's better than yours, I'm going to screw yours up first. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's on curve. I'm expecting the blues.
Yeah,
maybe the reds will just come in for 3 Arcane.
For 3, which again, that is basically like a zap. That blocks 3 as well.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's a common. I do like it though.
Yeah,
Frost Hex.
This is probably the biggest problem, or the most talked about card.
Biggest problem.
This is the biggest problem card.
This is the biggest problem.
Man, so blue 3 block costs 3. This is a new keyword that we haven't talked about, the Affliction. Right.
Well, this is a new card type, right? It's
card
not a
type,
keyword.
I should say, not a keyword. I'm sorry. Yeah, a new card type that basically enters the field on your opponent's side, kind of like a Frostbite, and it's basically it's theirs. They get to keep this card, right?
Yep. Yeah. No, that's definitely fair. I think the idea here is that a lot of people are a little bit worried that how does Icelander win the game? Like there's a lot of you had to throw in a lot of attack actions in the popular Blitz decks, and you had to avoid that dreaded Oldhim control. You're going to either draw the game or lose the game. So it's a matter of her threat density was kind of question mark, especially in CC. And this card, probably in combination with other cards, make a whole lot of sense. So Affliction Auras obviously will be on their side of the field, and they have to deal with it. Otherwise, it just sits there, right? And Frostbites you control had at the beginning, they deal 1 Arcane. So remember
beginning
that
of the end phase. Sorry.
Yeah, beginning of that. Yeah. So you do that. You do it at the you do it on their turn, and then on their end phase, if they have Frostbites up, they'll have 1 immediately. If you pay 3 and do it on their turn, like out of the arsenal, and use it as this, they're gonna have 1 regardless, right? However, this goes really well against that other Icelander specialization we literally just saw
Yeah.
that can create a bejesus amount of them.
7
So
frostbites.
yeah, because the idea is that the frostbites will destroy themselves at end phase if you don't crack them.
Yeah.
They're going away whether you like it or not. Do you want to pay for it or do you want to take it's like a lose-lose. So I really like that kind of mental anguish
Right.
that you're putting your opponent in.
Right.
Which like, do I just like save it for next turn? Oh, these are gonna pop and do like stupid damage to me, but it's just like, well, the next turn will be better. But you still have frost hacks on the field, so if they create more frostbites on my next turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Important to note too that there is no way to get rid of it currently.
there is. There actually is. That'll be our next spoiler card.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. Oh, that is true. Yes. Sorry, I meant in the current card pool. Right. Yes. Before we saw that.
Before this set. Before this set.
We'll get to that one eventually. But
yeah.
Here we have Hypothermia, another majestic ice.
Second Affliction Aura.
Yep. Second Affliction.
So
blue ice costs 0, right?
Only blocks for 2 though. Sorry, ice fans.
It's too bad.
Damn shame.
It's a damn shame.
Attacks you control can't gain go again. This is going to be one of those amazing cards that you're going to have to look at the rulebook like 20,000 times to answer everyone's questions.
Goodness. Yeah. But I mean, just imagine Icelander being able to play this as an instant from the arsenal, right? Opponent sets up. Oh, by the way, no more go again, and here's a frostbite.
Yeah, but it just said it's not like Blizzard, right? So it's not that cards that already had it will lose it. It's the cards just can't gain it.
That's
so
fair,
if you're Ravenous Raveling, that naturally has go
Yeah,
again. However, if
that's
you're
a
going
good
to give something go again,
So if you razor something, it can't gain go
if you
again.
razor something, if you shadow puppetry, if you razor it, if you do something to give it go again, Snapdragon, same kind of idea.
Yep.
This will stop it. This can come out as an instant from the arsenal from Icelander, so it's kind of like Blizzard, but you just need to use it from arsenal, not from hand.
Yes.
If you want to use it as at instant speed, right?
Yeah.
So this does not have that never say die that the last Affliction Aura said. Like at the beginning of your end phase, destroy it. So if you use it, it's like a 1-turn kind of deal. It's like if you're expecting a really big turn where they're going to gain a lot of go again from some kind of purpose, or they have snaps, or it's going to happen.
Chain, of course, with his shackles, right?
Exactly. This is a good card. More niche, in my opinion. Very, very similar to Blizzard. It's a more niche card.
That's fair.
Comes in certain matchups.
Sideboard in CC for sure.
Definitely not a 3 of in literally every ice deck. I think it's probably a 1 to 2 of in most ice decks, being Icelander and Oldhim. But I don't think it's like absolutely necessary.
And it's kind of interesting too, because like unlike Arclight Sentinel, where it's like you have to play it before the opponent attacks, you can react with this card after they've already played a card that gains go again, right? Because this will get layered on top of the chain, and then this will resolve first. So basically, if someone raises reflexes on their own attack, you can react with this card and then just kind of negate the go again that Razor Reflex would have given. So it's it's easy to play in that sense where you don't have to predict anything.
Yes.
It's just like, okay, well, you've done something that I don't like. Here, Hypothermia.
You do it in response. Exactly. That's the key, right? So because it's instant speed, unless they have some way of getting rid of it before that happens. Like if they have some instant speed card that gets rid of it.
On top of that, that'll give go again. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they let Hypothermia resolve, and then when they pass priority in the stack, and then they play their instant, and then they have that as a target. But again, it's getting really murky with the rules, so I really do want to see the updates for this. So moving 100%. On to the next one, we have another card that I want. Another card that I'm going to want on a mat. I'm going to go broke. I have so much neoprene. It's coming out the wazoo.
Man,
and so we have Cold Snap.
This is not fire. This is basically just like autumn leaves in the back. No, that is fire.
No, it's fire. You got the Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. It's true. I'm seeing some fire.
You know what happens? You know what happens? All the devs, half of them are watching Game of Thrones, and the other half of them are playing Warcraft. Right? So when you combine it, you have this wonderful mesh of random cards.
Jaina and Cold Snap. That's right.
You get Jaina on a dragon, and so Cold Snap, blue ice card, blocks for 2 again, because not everything in life is lemons, right? And it does cost 1. Target hero it is an action, is an ice action. So again, Oldhim can use it. It's not just for Icelander. It is also a common, so it will come in the red, yellow, blue variety, most likely. Target hero may play 1. So I imagine the red is probably 3 and the yellow is 2, kind of like Polar Blast.
Right.
if they don't freeze a card in the arsenal or an ally they control until the start of the next turn,
Yeah.
important to note. If it's played from the arsenal, draw a card. So
Yeah,
this
so
looks
very
like better
similar to
Polar
Polar
Blast.
Blast. Yeah, I think that this Polar Blast gives the dominate, I believe, right? If they don't pay.
Yes. Yep.
This one, I mean, man, like Icelander playing this is so cool because you play it from Arsenal and you draw a card off the effect as well. So it kind of replaces itself. You have to pitch, unfortunately.
Yes.
But if it was 0,
Yes.
obviously it'd be broken.
True. But you can be running other cards that already use pitch anyways.
That
So
is true.
like
That is true.
you know, let's say maybe they're playing
There's Heart of Ice,
I
I
don't
guess,
like
that you could. Well, that's not an
well,
instance.
not,
so you
not
have to
no
play it
no
on your
not yeah
turn.
not Heart of
Yeah,
Dives. It would be like any of the new equipment that comes out.
yeah.
Maybe it acts at instant speed or something they want to do. That's also
Yep.
possible. But it freezes a card in the arsenal or an ally. It's very flexible. I think the blue one's definitely played Icelander two or three of, depending on CC Blitz. I think the red one, kind of like Polar Blast, is not going to see a lot of play, depending on if
Yeah.
unless it's very, very necessary. Solid card in Icelander. Pretty good card in Oldhim. I'd have to relook at Oldhim heavily, but again,
Yeah.
Oldhim has different kind of issues. But as far as Icelander goes, it's probably a 2 or 3 of in the blue.
I agree. When I saw this card immediately, I was like, better Polar Blast. I would play this for
Better,
sure.
better Polar Blast. Yes.
Here's the card you're talking about.
Oh yes, this is the last one. This is the last
It
of
is.
the preview cards of this set of like Icelander's story. Look at that board. Look at that Volcore border and it's
You
all
see,
its Volcore glory.
It's not just
You see the
there are
dragons.
dragons here. Yeah, I didn't notice that at first. I thought this was just kind of Kano's border.
Nope.
But it is different. This is a draconic border.
Draconic border.
Volcore type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. No, for sure.
Dragon faces. We've got a claw. We've got a dragon claw down here. Mirrored on the other side, of course. Really nice.
I can't wait to see that Marvel card. So we're looking at 2 for 6. So we're looking at the Draconic might be like a pseudo generic kind of card, right? So it's a red 2 for 6 in Majestic, 2 block. So same stat line as a lot of the Monarch cards, a lot of the Monarch and Tails generic cards. So like think about Nourishing, Emptiness. Think about that's like the one that's coming to mind right now, but don't worry about it. Think about that kind of stuff. Well, it's in your graveyard at the start of your turn. Keyword start of your turn here. There is no priority passing here with start of turn. True. It's not the beginning of your action phase. Start of turn. You may banish it. So we have a little bit of graveyard manipulation happening, which is something we haven't seen a ton of. We saw the banish manipulation with Chain and Levia, of course. Well, Levia is a little bit tricky because I guess she does have graveyard, but it's different. It's different than you have to do something to then banish from
this
grave.
Is kind of
this
like
card,
you have it
you don't have to do
there
anything
until you want to use it, right?
Correct.
Very powerful ability to use whenever you want. I think that is new.
It reminds me of it smells like E-Strike, like that hybrid ability. You got like 3 different. It's like Art of War, E-Strike kind of idea. So you have 3 options. You got 3 flavors of ice cream. You got chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, right?
Yeah.
And so your chocolate here is destroying a target frostbite. Can be okay, especially in the situation where you need that extra mana that you couldn't afford. So like Icelander does something, that's the counter, right? Like Icelander does something as an instant, and then you have that frostbite. I'm a complete liar. It's start of turn, so that actually wouldn't really do it.
It would have to be on their turn they give you the frostbite, and then you react.
Exactly.
Or beginning of your turn, you pop it.
Yeah. So Icelander would do it like, or Oldhim or whatever, like Winter's Wail, giving you like you can let it hit.
You can get over Winter's Wail. It's like, I see that 4 damage. It's basically vanilla at this point.
It's whatever I have thought. I'm going to thaw that.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I'm turning it into a warm hammer, right? And so once you've turned that into a warm hammer, you'll be a lot happier with life. The next one is destroy target Ice Affliction. So this is the first card for now. There's probably going to definitely be more that can destroy the Affliction auras. And the Ice Afflictions, both of them are Ice Afflictions, right? The ones that we've seen, the Hex and the Hypothermia.
Hypothermia, that was it.
Hypothermia kills itself at the end of the turn. Probably not as much of an issue, but that stupid Hex.
Yeah.
You're going to need to get rid of that thing. It's going to just keep seeping damage. It's like a Leech Seed. Bulbasaur is just Leech Seed.
You can play more than one, I believe, right? Where's Hex? Let me just find it.
Oh, yeah. It definitely
stacks. You can have 3 of them on the board. Yeah, exactly. So
definitely stacks. You're going to need to thaw those.
Yeah.
And so that's probably going to be one of the main uses, especially in that matchup. Unfreeze target frozen card, also very strong. Right. Especially if it's an equipment that you really need to use. You can unfreeze your arsenal, right? Just as target card. True. So if you really needed because there's a couple cards we saw that only freeze arsenal.
There was the,
so if you let it hit
Icebind. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that can also be very useful. Very, very good card. I'm expecting a 2 or 3 of.
Yeah.
especially if if Icelander and ice in general becomes very strong,
Yeah.
and it's something that the set really promotes. I can see this being a very strong card.
It seems like a fire ice kind of set, right? I'm sure there's gonna be
It is
they're
a
gonna be
it is
pumping
100%.
tons of stuff on either side, right?
Mhm.
So that was the final preview card we got to date. There will be more pretty soon, I guess. Now we can go into the actual set announcement. So we did get a full article here on the set of Uprising with some marvelous art, very fiery. So we've seen a lot
Marvelous
of
art. Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
yeah, that was totally on purpose.
Uh-huh.
2 new heroes have been
Oh God,
announced.
that's I hope that's
This got
the
people hyped up here. This new
I hope that's the
ninja.
Armory poster. I feel like this is a
Mm.
good Armory poster kind of artwork going on.
I mean, you'll notice the artist you're gonna recognize. Sam Yang did
That guy, he does great
Faye.
stuff.
And then you
Yeah.
have Kate Fox, who did the Mask of Momentum here, did our Dromai. So we have,
Which is interesting.
on the left we have Faye. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He is
Probably
the
fire.
draconic ninja hero. And then we have on the right we have Dromai, who is the draconic illusionist. So one ninja, one illusionist, 2 classes that we actually needed more heroes of. Prism being the only illusionist to date.
Yep. And there are a lot of illusionist talent cards. Like there are plenty of generic illusionist cards that Dromai can use, right? So her pool is actually not as bad as people would think. Like she can't use heralds, but like I'm sure she
can use the generic, quote unquote generic illusionist cards. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Come to me, Phantasmaclasm. No, but so the Marvel.
Look what they did to the Marvel card. Oh my goodness.
That is going to be an expensive Dragon. And so we're introducing Dragons, 3 flavors of Dragons. And because I wonder how many people I'm pissing off by saying
vanilla,
it like that.
And
we have a chocolate vanilla strawberry dragon. Dracona Optimize is going to be my chocolate. Yeah. And he is pretty mean looking. So the same thing as the Blasphemo Fed and Urser. He's a 6/6.
6/6, right? Yeah.
As the ally. Whenever it attacks a hero, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. However, what if I have that thing that says no, you can't reveal anything? It's looking bleak, Mr. Dragon Man.
That's right.
He deals arcane equal to twice the number of red cards revealed this way.
That is strong.
To them or an ally they control. So I'm kind of curious if you can because if you reveal the 3 reds, you can automatically kill an ally because it would do 6 arcane.
True. Yeah.
Right? But also, it's really hard to block 6 arcane to the face.
Yeah.
And I mean, it already comes in for 6 physical. So it's coming in for 12 damage off 3 reds.
Yes.
Maximum.
That is insane.
But it's starting to make a whole lot more sense what strategies Ice and Fire are going to be using against each other, right? Ice is going to be wanting to tax the relatively minimal red count a lot of these decks using, like the Dragon Illusive decks is going to want to run because you're going to want to run more red cards in your deck, like a more low to the ground deck.
Yeah.
And then Icelander is going to try very hard to give you those frostbites to stop you from going off, because if you're able to like get this dragon off, like obviously we don't know how exactly you can get this dragon out or any details, but it's starting to come together as far as what the set's theme is, how exactly these decks are split together. Because when you look at Monarch, it was Shadow versus Light. There were very specific cards in Shadow that targeted Light, in Light that targeted Shadow.
Yeah,
they're purely draft cards. They're purely sealed cards.
I didn't like that, to be honest. I do like that the duality here that you're mentioning is coming from just the way the heroes and the classes
strategy
play out.
The overall strategy.
Ice taxes,
I think that spills into
low curve decks, or I guess low pitch value decks, I should say.
Low pitch value, yeah.
And I'm not sure what Fire does yet. We'll find out.
Probably a lot of combo ramp is what I'm trying to guess, because like the stubby hammers, the OTK.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm willing to bet there's going to be a lot
there's
of
a ninja. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet there's going to be a lot of like 100 wins-esque cards that ramp. So they start off small, but then you either combo them or you multiply them or some ridiculousness like that.
Yeah.
Is what I'm guessing is going to happen. Especially. I'm thinking Hypothermia is probably going to try to hit that, like not getting go again. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of like ways to try to stop comboing, and it's looking really hot.
No pun intended.
I'll see myself out.
On average, it's looking kind of lukewarm, I think.
We're looking at a very lukewarm preview season on June 4th, which is pretty soon, about
Yeah,
a month and a bit.
here it is. The word you were looking for was, where are they? World premiere events. There they
Oh
are.
my god, how did I
World
forget
premiere.
world premiere? That's
I
really
forgot it
depressing.
too.
So
Those will be June
Vegas,
10th to
Vegas, Madrid, Sydney,
12th.
three reasonable locations to have it. I think honestly, you're always gonna have at Vegas. You're gonna have the world premiere at Vegas every single time,
Yep.
in my opinion. Right? It's just the best place to do it. So
Yeah.
they mentioned at this event there's also going to be a battle hardened CC. They didn't mention CC, but there's a battle hardened event, Team Blitz event. So there's going to be multiple events. Unlike I don't remember actually what the world premiere in Vegas did last time. I think it was just mainly just like a casual-ish.
Yeah, I forget. I wasn't there, so I don't really remember.
Was it the calling in Vegas? So I guess it was different. So
okay,
you had the world premiere on Friday,
oh,
and then
I
you
see.
had the calling.
Yeah,
I think you had the calling Friday, Saturday.
The first ever US calling, I believe. That was the one, right?
Yeah. They made a battle hardened instead, pretty reasonable, and then we have the pre-release events literally a week after, so we don't have to like be in suspense. And
yeah,
you know what? I'm gonna be definitely going to every single one that I can see. So let's talk a little bit about the set. 226 cards.
Yep.
This is lower than Tales of Aria. Tales of Aria had about 235, 240 cards.
I believe,
and it had three. It had Monarch had over 300 cards.
Yeah, Monarch was huge.
So that being said, 3 heroes. What do you think? You think these are the 3 heroes we're getting? Icelander, Fi, and Dromai? Faye and Dromai?
I want one more.
You think it's 3 heroes?
I kind of want to go to 4.
You want to go to 4? But like, where's your card support?
Yeah, because 27 Majestics leans toward about
that's low.
9 per hero. Yeah.
That's low. And we've already seen a lot of them. Like we've already seen 4 of them at this point, right? 4 or 5, something like that.
So.
One draconic one and 4 ice ones.
Yeah.
There's 2 Icelander specializations and 2 regular ones.
I think the number of Majestics is more telling that it might be 3.
I do too.
You're right. Yeah.
6 legendary. That's fine. You could probably get like a draconic legendary, one for each hero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably
I love how they put the
ones.
Marvels here. So they're actually putting Marvels being a kind of like a stat in this list, right? Which is kind of nice.
Each dragon must have a Marvel. So I'm just kind of curious what other Marvels they're going to be chilling like to make extended. I'm hoping a lot of the draconic stuff because of Marvel, personally. Paper packs, they're coming back.
I love this.
You love the dragon? Yeah.
Yes.
Paper packs coming back.
Where are they? Recyclable booster packs. Yes.
Map. Awesome. So same MSRP, 129.90 Canadian, 99.90 US. So map should be the same. Nope, hasn't changed, which is fantastic. I think that's the right price point. It's a good piece for what you're getting. 6 to 16 cards per pack are just the extra for the token thing they were talking about. Like if you get the code foil, you can take it out and you don't have to like ruin the draft.
Yeah, and this is the first set that they will release that is Fab 2.0. So there will not be unlimited or first edition for this. This is basically this is what you get. This is going to be Uprising. Period.
You get to take it and you get to eat it and you get to like it.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be your dinner for tonight, right? And
one thing I wanted to mention too about the paper wrappers, I'm so glad they're not going back to the old wrappers because I don't know about you, but I did some drafts for Farewell to Welcome to Wraith, right? And then I could not open those damn packs.
Honestly,
I was struggling so much after opening paper. It's so hard to go back.
Yeah. A lot of the old, like the non-Japanese, even some of the Japanese, like the Monarch and like the Tails, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you open this pack?
I had to like teeth it. I was like, what the hell, man? I can't open this. Apparently there's a trick you can go in the back and just kind of like open up the back flap, which I never do, but anyway.
Whatever. going for paper.
Yeah, let's stick with paper.
The Blitz decks, interestingly enough, only Kai and Dromai are getting Blitz decks.
Oh yeah. No Icelander.
No Icelander. I guess it's fine. They released her technically in Everfest.
Yeah, this isn't really like hers. I mean, she's getting the support in this set, but she was released before this set, so it makes sense.
Yep.
So I guess that also kind of gives us the hint that there won't be that many more heroes, if any, because this is the only ones.
Honestly, this is making me believe that we're getting a 3-hero set. That and the Majestic pool and the card pool in general.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's 3. I think Tails was a fine sealed format. I like Monarch more as far as having 4 heroes.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm still going to play it, obviously. It's going to be less you need to worry about as far as like testing a lot of the different hero styles, like as far as like learning more heroes. You just have to learn like if there are different builds to the heroes as far as sealed goes. I really love the art.
There's a phoenix.
We got a phoenix. Oh, maybe this is gonna be a phoenix and a dragon. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna start speculating here. I don't I don't remember if there's art that I've ever disliked as far as the display art. I think it's all fantastic.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of my favorite ones with the dragon, with the phoenix dragon kind of style.
Yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
liking him. I like
It's
Monarch a
clean.
lot.
It's very clean.
I like
Yeah.
Tails, but Uprising definitely looks really clean.
Yeah. All right.
How much of this do you think you're picking up?
I'll be opening
Let's
at
do
least
that.
a few cases. At least two, I think.
Yeah, we will be opening probably one case for the channel. At least a box or two.
Yeah,
Hopefully
we'll
a
get
case if we can
some
get.
opening. Yeah, yeah. Maybe not a whole
Maybe
lot because people do get tired
No,
of that.
no,
I
no,
know
no.
I do too.
Oh no, it'll just be like one video, right? It'll
Yeah.
just be like one video. We pump it up. We crack them. We talk about something random, like a discussion kind of feel, and we're gonna
Right.
have it as a, just really seeing if we can do better than Everfest. Oh my god! Remember we opened like a case of Everfest between us, and we opened like such hot garbage. I remember
Yep.
that.
All of my good
It
stuff was
so
pulled off camera.
we in case anyone's wondering why we only posted the one box, it's because everything else was even worse than that, if you could imagine. So
Yeah.
we like nobody wants to watch that. So hopefully then maybe we can do some better on stream,
Yeah.
on camera pulls for you guys. Maybe get some Marvels Full Fable. My good god, that would be a very rare card to pull in this set, wouldn't it?
It would be, because it's about 3 times as rare to pull than the Rainbow Foil Fabled, as far as I can remember. Or that was for legendary.
Question mark.
That
No,
might have been legendary, not for the Fabled. Anyway, we'll find out. We'll get some stats once we open a bunch of product.
For sure. With that, I hope everyone appreciated our kind of rundown of kind of the ban lists, the BNR, BNS, BN whatever. Maybe you thought it was BS. Maybe we thought it was BS. I thought it was BNR. We thought it was BNR. So if you have any other, are you excited for this new set? Let us know in the comments. Is Uprising your set? Are you a diehard Ninja fan? We know one diehard Ninja fan between us both. We know he's ready to ninja it up.
Yep.
Are you a Katsumain who's been looking for their next more viable maid? Are you excited for this? Are you excited for an next Solutionist? Are you more excited for Scale Bay than Aura Bay? Are you on the Icelander train? Let us know. Let us know how you like the art. Are you going to be picking up a lot of this product, a little bit of this product? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to talk to you guys. We respond to pretty much almost everything we can. With that, appreciate it for watching or listening. This will be up on Spotify, of course. Wherever you're watching in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Bye for now.